I'm in mourning.
Well,
for my
Afternoon,
back.
board, we're live,
forgot what
recording,
to do.
we're good to go.
Pulled it twice now.
Oh, I'm so
I
sorry.
think you're talking.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, you are live.
Again.
We're live.
We're live. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, to the Architectural Review Board meeting of November 10th, 2022. I'm Kathleen Cunningham, a chairperson, and I welcome you. I am going to start our meeting, as I have been doing traditionally, to remind ourselves and the viewing public and our applicants what our purposes are here under the code, which is to provide review and approval of the architecture, design, scale, and style of certain classes of buildings and structures, and for the design, scale, and architectural compatibility of historic landmarks and structures and improvements within designated historic districts. Our town possesses a rich architectural heritage dating from colonial times that enduring charm, local residences, shops, and other buildings, together with the historic associations which many of these buildings have with each other and with the streetscape, constitute a visual and cultural resource which has allowed the town to be acclaimed as one of the most beautiful and historic communities in the nation. Enduring rural charm and historic character have also served to support the area's resort economy, which has grown to rival or surpass the town's traditional economic cornerstones of farming and fishing. Yet that resort economy, with its economic benefits, also possesses the potential to destroy the rural character on which it is based. I won't go through the rest of it, but that should give you an idea of the position we're in and what we are charged with doing, which is to protect that rural character and historic, association to our community. So with that, I'd like to have approval of the minutes of October 27th, 2022. We have a motion, please.
Make a motion?
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's passed and carried. I want to, sorry, Frank, I meant to mention that our member, Frank Guittard, is Zooming in today because he's not feeling all that well, but he's calling in from his home in Springs, and we welcome his participation. He's our architect, and this board is one of the few agencies that is required to have a credentialed professional on it, and Frank is ours. So welcome, Frank, and thanks for making time to do this even while you're not feeling so great.
Chair, just to be clear, there is a quorum of members physically present at the meeting right now in Town Hall.
Thank you for reminding me of that, Council.
Welcome.
Okay. All right, so our first application is Ocean Colony and Tennis Club, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-130-2-7.4. Is Ms. Wilshire, oh, hi, okay. You know how this works, right? Yeah. Chip will review this, and then you can jump in at the end. Okay.
This is an application to replace brick walkways, railroad tie retaining walls, and staircases to the second level, upgrading each for better materials. The building is highly weathered. It is a massive residential complex rented out as a motel just past the Lunch Lobster Roll restaurant. It goes from the Montauk Highway to the beach, and there appear to be hundreds of units. Applicant seeks to replace brick walkways with new brick walkways, replace worn staircases with IP treads, and replace railroad tie retaining walls with precast Cambridge blocks, and the color being taffy onyx. Some work on adjacent buildings has already been completed, and that sort of showed me what they were planning to do with these two buildings. This is an upgrade and a win-win for all. I see no reason not to approve this application.
Okay.
That is the building that has many walkways and retaining
Right.
walls.
So
Yeah.
is this yellow highlighted area where that's supposed to go, or is
No,
it
that's
just
the
showing the
building
building?
number, yeah.
Okay, so these are the walkways here.
Yes, there's many walkways, there's many staircases, there's many
Okay.
railroad tie walls. They've done some of the work on these adjacent buildings.
Right, but it's just a replacement in kind.
Yes.
So what appears here is, it's not going to
It's actually
wander
going to.
outside of
No, it's
what's-
actually going to be a lot better.
No, I'm sure it will be. I'm just trying to make sure that the survey is appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
because we're trying to like tighten up our survey procedures. So that was my only question on that one.
Yeah, it would be in place, not entirely in kind, because the brick walkways are going to remain brick walkways. It's going to be iPay instead of the decrepit wood that is there. And then, as Chip had said, it's going to be the Sigma block instead of
Railroad ties.
the railroad ties.
Right, okay, so it's just in place. I'm sorry, could you just identify yourself for the record?
Sorry, Jean Galante from Land
Okay,
Planning.
thank you, Jean. Okay, so it's in place but not in kind.
Not
But as long as
entirely,
it's in
some of it
place,
is.
I think that'll work for the purposes of the survey, right?
I have no problem with
Okay,
that.
I don't either, now that I understand that. We had a pre-meeting today, and that was a little fuzzy for me. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Galante? Or for Chip? No? Okay.
I have a question.
Okay,
Is there an
Frank.
image, sorry, is there an image of the Cambridge block that's proposed?
Yes, I think there is.
I don't know, Will, is it something on the,
Yeah, it should be in the OneDrive.
all right, let me check that again.
Oh, for Pete's sake, I just had to think. This is it, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the block that you see on TV all the time with the gentleman who pushes his company.
With his entire family.
Will, there's lots of photos. Could you bring up some of these photos?
Here, you can.
So that's the complex, it's 2 stories, but there's a lower sort of English basement to a lot of it. Next, Will. Those are the staircases that are going to be replaced.
Right,
Okay.
I need some.
That's the railroad tie retaining walls. They're going to be replaced with the Cambridge block.
Oh, okay.
And that's another IP, it's a walkway to an adjoining building. And that's a replaced brick walkway,
Okay.
And that will be in kind.
in kind, yeah. Old brick versus, it's a very simple but upgrade for all.
Now I've got that dopey Cambridge paving stone thing in my head. Who said that? Who did
I did.
What's Cambridge
it
block?
out of my mind?
So do we have a picture of this block? Is it just gray block?
It's
It's-
taffy onyx.
Didn't I just hand that to you?
But
It's
is
this
it on
one.
the screen?
Oh,
Is
I
it
don't-
in the submittal package?
Yeah.
A black and white photo is, yeah.
Okay.
It's just gray.
Yeah, it's a gray, it's sort of a gray
And
tone.
there's like a texture and undulation, or it's just flat?
It looks a little marbly to me. I mean, oh, you mean the
Texture.
surface?
Yeah.
Is the surface textured? I don't know, is the surface textured?
It's hard to tell from that.
It's
teeny
true.
tiny.
Actual size,
They're
weight
usually not
per,
flat. They
degrees
have
from
a- they have a
vertical,
grain to
units per
them.
pallet,
That's what I
yeah.
thought.
I have pictures from their site,
Yeah.
but we've gotten in trouble in the past by turning in a site picture because
Sometimes the color is
it's
Oh,
not-
here
just
we go.
not true,
So I
yeah.
didn't turn that in, but there is the Sigma, the Cambridge Sigma spec sheet that we did turn in. That would give the size, the dimensions, and
Color.
the color is the toffee onyx.
Which is a weathered color, which the place is so weathered. It's-
Yeah, it looks like it'll work. It's sort of a gray.
Yeah.
Can you see that, Frank?
I see, yeah.
It's not a, I think.
Yeah, it's not the most-
Cornerstone and one is a,
Oh, I see.
I think they're two, it's, one's a corner piece and the other is a straight, the.
Yeah.
rectangular.
It seems fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so
We
I
have a
make a
motion.
motion to approve this application as submitted.
May I have a second, please? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Frank?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck. All right, next up is business sign, Erica Broberg Smith, excuse me, for messing that up. Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-163-7-23.1. Is Ms. Broberg or a representative here? Hi. I'm her husband. Hi, husband. Hi. Okay, now Diane, this is yours.
Yes, this is a very nice building that has been recently upgraded at the beginning of North Main Street. And there's already one sign in place for a yacht brokerage. If you could flip through the pictures, Will, please. Okay, that's the space that's going to occupy. That's the existing sign. And there should be, I think, one more picture. Maybe.
Yes.
Or maybe
yeah.
their picture. Okay, so this sign is being suggested for the window nearest us, the place nearest us. And it is it's the same size as the existing yacht brokerage sign. And it's a very simple sign. And Will, I think there's a mock-up of
Right.
And if you could see that more closely, I mean, that's the
Digitally
intention.
printed, single-sided.
And these are the colors. It's
It's much more.
a
Oh,
charcoal
that's nice. Okay, yeah. Oh,
and
it's,
ecru. Yes, it's
Wow.
very different than that.
So that blue
These
is-
are the actual colors.
Yeah, that blue is not accurate.
oh my goodness, okay. Well, that's good to know.
It's going to match the same color as the other sign.
As the other side.
Correct.
And
Right.
It seems to me that it's totally harmonious and the building looks very nice, so I see no
Okay,
objection
great.
whatsoever.
Sir, could you please identify yourself?
I'm Scott Smith, Erica's
Okay,
husband.
thank you. And David, that's sufficient
That's fine, yeah.
representation, yeah, okay.
There is a sign in the planter, I've noticed, when I drive that way. Could you go back? It was in the first
There's
photograph.
one right on the, yeah.
It's in the planter. It's not your sign, but there is
There's extra signage there now.
Yeah, I was going to raise that.
it's the yacht.
I don't think we approved it.
No, we didn't.
No, we only approved a sign
Is
over
it-
the door like this one.
There it is. There, go back.
Oh,
one.
The
yeah,
Italian Sea Group?
Yeah, that lower sign just is stuck in a planter.
Yeah. They've added, I think, one or
Well,
two extra signs.
That's not before us right now, is it?
Okay,
So
okay.
it's
No.
not-
Right, but just for the board's edification. Okay, so Diane, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Smith or Diane?
Nope.
Okay, Diane, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we accept this application as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? None? Okay, you're approved.
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
You too. Okay. Item number 3, Health SOS, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-197-2-10.1 has been withdrawn administratively, so we won't be entertaining that tonight. Number 4 is Black Mountain Capital, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-197-1-45. Oh, hello.
Hi,
What is your name, sir?
I'm Dan Gualtieri. I'm representing the 81 Montauk Highway.
Dan Galtieri. The Gualteri?
Gualtieri.
Tieri. Okay, I got the last part of it wrong. Tieri. Okay. All right, this is Esperanza's, and then if you'd like to make a comment after she's done, we'd be glad to hear from you.
Yes, so we recently approved the signage for this building at the corner of Wainscott Northwest and Montauk Highway for Black Mountain Capital. And the applicant is now seeking light fixtures to illuminate the approved sign. So there is the existing signage, and I believe there should be a mock-up of what is proposed as far as the light fixtures.
Looks like a head-on with the bus and the pickup truck.
Doesn't it? I can describe from the specification sheet that what is being proposed is a light fixture from Pinnacle Architectural Lighting, and it's the Moffett. And it's a sort of low-profile LED downlight. And the applicant is actually proposing 2 strips. They're like strips that come out of the wall. There you go. We had taken a look at this when we approved the signage, and in addition to the fact that the applicant required an administrative lighting permit, my recollection is that the board was more in favor of having a continuous line of a fixture if it were this kind of linear fixture. And from the specification sheet, there is an option for connecting or joining end to end the Moffett fixture, so it could create a straight continuous line. So what is being proposed exactly?
I am not sure. I know that the lighting that was proposed was reviewed by Eric Chance, and Eric approved it. I was hoping he would be here tonight.
He is, he's right behind
right
you.
there.
There you go. All right,
Oh,
so
yes,
I
you
will,
presented that to us.
I will relinquish my time to,
Well,
No.
Just to give you an update, the board approved the sign, which spans the length, is about 20 feet on the face of the building. That is actually the rendering, the shot of the front facade of the building that was part of the approval package. There was a condition. There were two things said on the record, but not written down in the resolution. But written down in the resolution was a condition that any lighting for the sign, that the applicants would have to come back to this board, to the ARB, to get your approval.
Right.
But also the board had made a comment that because you can see in this rendering, and I apologize that the sides cut off, that they're proposing two, very thin lights that would have arm mounts off of the front of the building. The board had said in its deliberation that they prefer one continuous, a light fixture. There's one, continuous and not two broken up.
Yes.
And then also the board had said that the applicants could work with the planning department, myself, to get an administrative lighting permit. So in the interim, since that approval, the planning department has worked with the applicants to find a light fixture that meets the code and what's called the planning board's guidelines for exterior lighting, which is what's mandated under the code. That dictates that the color temperature, or the light can't be too blue in appearance. It dictates the amount of light output of the fixture. So we worked with the applicants, and the fixture that they have submitted to you, that should be in your packet of information, is a code conforming fixture. The charge of the board today is to decide whether or not you find the fixture acceptable in terms of its appearance, and that really relates to the dimensions and the color. So you can see on this rendering, the lettering is black. I think right now they're proposing two black fixtures. Basically, what they've offered looks identical to what's on that rendering. However, again, the board did mention that they wanted to see one continuous light fixture. The fixture they've chosen comes in various lengths, and what we settled on was two, I think 6 foot long fixtures. It does say on the manufacturer's spec sheet for that fixture that by special order, you can have one continuous fixture of whatever length, the purchaser so desires. So that's where you are. I have not issued the administrative lighting permit because basically we need to,
You need this approval first,
exactly.
right? Okay.
So that's where we are.
All right. Thanks for that recap, Eric. I appreciate that. So I guess what we're here to decide is if we approve of the two fixtures as opposed to one continuous one, which was what we had originally advised the applicant to install. And if the color of the fixture is appropriate. I have no problem with the color. I wish it was one line.
Right. So I don't know if this is in your digital files. It should be.
I think so, yeah.
If you could put that up.
Yeah, I have this. Yeah, and I
That's a custom one, yeah.
It's not custom. It's just that individual fixtures can be joined to create a continuous for larger applications.
Right, but I think the issue had been last meeting that either it's going to be too short or too long if they join 6 foot fixtures.
Well, there are different varying lengths, so you could actually join smaller.
Oh.
That's the question.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be exact. And I think, Esperanza, you may have been pointing, and if we'll go to page 4 of this brochure, so everyone knows, I think we're talking about the same thing. It's not awful having two, but it's definitely much better to have it continuous. Yeah. So, it's not like this has to be, let me go back. As they have it here, it's not like the fixtures are meeting exactly at the end of the typeface. So, if it's a foot shorter or if it ends up being 18 inches longer on either side, I think it's still going to look fine. I guess we could go through this. I don't think we should have to go through this catalog to see, but, if there are, let me think, they're proposing 2 6 foot fixtures, which is 12 linear feet. It's longer than that. So they need about 16 linear feet. So 4 4 foot fixtures or 2 8 foot fixtures would do it if those are offered. These usually come in varying lengths.
Yeah, I mean,
Or how about 3 6-foot fixtures
Yeah, I
and
mean-
just have it hang over a little bit?
Yeah.
well, it's
you
a
know-
20-foot, the sign is 20
18
feet.
would be perfect.
I don't know
I
that,
want extra lighting, frankly.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
I think it's minimal.
I understand what Esperanza's point is in terms of the lighting, because anything that's lit, you can actually see it.
You could
The
see that
sign
at
itself,
night
you can
without.
see because it's a contrast on the building, because the building is so light. You don't really need light to see it, but they want to light it, and that's fine. But I would ask that it be one continuous length and not the full length of the sign, and keep it to 12 feet or 14 feet maybe. Yeah.
Looks so good.
For
Well, I don't think it looks
excuse
good.
me,
I
for
think it looks-
simplicity's sake,
Yes.
just, you're looking for us to fill in the gap,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So either join the 2 6-foot
Right.
ones
to make it shorter.
and make it
or-
shorter.
Or find
or-
a configuration that fills in the gap.
Exactly.
Correct.
That,
Would we have to come back to you for this?
yes, you would. Well, I don't know how else we can't, we'd have to,
But we were pretty clear at the last time.
Yeah,
yeah, we were.
exactly.
I mean, I think you've done an outstanding
Yeah.
job with the building. It looks so much better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean,
We-
it's-
We were hoping that with Eric's
Yeah.
approval that
Right.
we would move on to the next phase, which is
Well, I
getting
mean,
our-
I suppose if, I don't, David's not
Hey,
here.
can I interrupt?
Yes.
Sorry. So I'm looking at the spec sheet that I just downloaded. This fixture comes in lengths of 24, 36, 48, 72, and
Oh, yeah.
96.
Yeah.
So you can put two together. I mean, two or three together.
Yeah, there are a number of ways you could make that work. David, the applicant, we've seemed to hit on, he understands that we want him to fill in the gap there. We want it to be one continuous light fixture. But he was wondering if we could approve it tonight, do they need to come back, or can we defer this to the administrative process? Or does he have to come back to us? I mean, it'd be my thinking in the usual
Chair,
way
this is
that he'd
on,
have to come back, but I just want to
is this existing right now or is that proposed?
no,
So
it's proposed.
so they have to come back anyway for the issuance of a CO, right?
Right.
Yes.
For the building, yes.
Right, would they have to come back for a CO, right?
Sign.
Yeah, so we could just make
And the
that
building.
conditional.
Yeah.
What I would propose is
Yeah.
the following. I
Let
would
Eric-
say,
Let Eric go.
Just a minute, Frank. Eric has something he wants to contribute, and then we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, I think probably the cleanest thing to do would have it just come back on the agenda for issuance of a CO for the sign. But as long as, I brought this back to you guys before
Right.
issuing the administrative lighting permit, just to
Right.
make sure I understood what you wanted it to look like.
Right.
As long as that's clear, I will write up, I have the permit ready to go. I'll write it up based on what you said. And I will have to do an inspection of the lighting for the
Right.
administrative lighting permit. So that'll handle that. But yeah, I would think you would put it back on the agenda for issuance of a CO, but only that. It wouldn't need for.
All right. So it wouldn't hold up the applicant in installing this fixture and proceeding, right?
No, I
It's
don't
not like
think
it's come back again for another design review.
No, I don't think that's.
All right.
necessary.
I think that makes better sense.
Excuse me, Chair. Business signs go to the building department for a sign permit. They don't come before us for a CO.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
you go.
they come back to us for a CO, then they get a sign permit afterwards for those.
I think they get the sign
Yeah.
permit after. Okay. All right. We're not going to talk about that now because we're talking about lighting.
We'll
Okay.
we'll figure out what the process is, but yes, as long as you're clear on and have a consensus on what you want to see and what you want it to look like,
Right.
we'll write that into the permit and we'll handle
Okay.
whatever the.
Frank, did you want to make a contribution?
so I was going to suggest, it appears to be that there are two 6-foot fixtures with what appears to be, if that's drawn to scale, about 2 feet in between.
Right. Between
So it's
them.
about 14 feet from end to end.
Right.
I would propose four 48-inch or 4-foot fixtures
That's
joined
16.
continuously makes 16 feet.
When I just for to give you the clarity. When I spoke with the applicant, Jackie Elijah, I
Right.
think her name is. We had agreed that what she had wanted to do was 2 8-foot fixtures. They come readily available as 8-foot fixtures. So that would cover 16 feet of the 20-foot sign. But I leave it up to
Just
you.
do
It's
two
totally
that,
up
and
to you.
just do two,
And
make
put
sure
them
they're
together.
connected instead of spaced. Yes.
It's a standard for, these are standard lengths, 24,
Okay. All
36,
right.
48.
All right. I think we're all in
I'd say
agreement.
4 in a row.
Okay.
They do need to come back for a certificate of occupancy. I just want to make that
Okay.
absolutely clear.
Okay.
That they do.
But they don't, but we can tell him to go in good faith tonight and make this installation. He doesn't have to come back for another approval.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
All right, but to be clear,
Uh-oh.
based on availability, we can either do 2 8-footers
Yes,
connected together,
correct.
or any
4
configuration
4-footers.
that gets us 16 feet
Correct.
connected together.
That sounds, that
Or
sounds
again,
Or
acceptable.
6 and 2 and 6, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever we
We'd
can-
like it not to be longer than 16 feet.
Yeah,
You could do shorter. That'd be fine. That'd be desirable to my mind.
No.
A
But,
maximum of 16.
yeah, I would say a
No,
maximum of
No,
16.
I think we need to be clear. 12 feet's going to be too short. I
Well,
would
that's up to
suggest.
them.
We shouldn't be designing.
Why
this
are you
design-
saying it's
That
gonna
up
be
to
too
them,
short?
And we say it's a maximum of 16 feet.
maximum
Yeah.
16 feet,
Okay.
whatever configuration we can
Continuous
get
lighting.
to
Yes,
get
yeah.
connected.
Yes,
And again, we're just concerned about availability and.
I understand.
Right.
That's a fair question.
Could I ask one more question? So there's the mounting hub, right?
Yes.
What is that length? What's that going to look like from the, in profile, sticking out from the facade? Because there are different lengths also available.
Yeah,
Yes, please. That was really a question for you.
Okay, yeah. When I spoke with Jackie, I said that, and I have it, I'm rereading my email, that 12 inches or 18 inches, nothing more than 18, nothing shorter than 12. Because if you're shorter than 12, the light's going to be right near the sign and just blasting light
Okay.
on the top portion of it. 12 should be fine. 18, if you go further than that, it's just going to be protruding out.
Okay.
Crazy.
Got it.
We'll need that
somewhere
for
in
the
this
resolution. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a great question.
Thank you for
yeah.
clarifying that.
Yeah.
12 to 18 inches.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want that clear in
Yeah.
my
No,
notes.
that's right. That's important.
So it would be the textured black.
Yes.
Okay. And a maximum of 16 feet. They're being joined. And a maximum of 18-inch wall hub length.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. And the
And that-
2700 Kelvin, I think is what we're going for here too,
Yes.
which is all Eric's department.
okay.
All right.
All right. Great.
Thank you.
Not
So
to
do we
get-
have to make, what's
Not
that?
to get, I was gonna say, not to get technical on you, but if we're saying 16 feet, just so the applicant knows, the fixture is 48 and 5/8. So if we put 4 fixtures together, it's going to be just a little bit more than the 16. So I just don't want the applicant to think
Okay.
that it's
All
like
right.
an absolute 16-0.
Okay. Thank you, Frank.
Understood.
Okay. All right. Do we need to make a motion to adopt this formally, or can we do this? All right. So Esperanza, would you like to make a motion?
So I make a motion to approve the application with the condition that the light fixtures proposed, which is the Moffett, will be joined end to end, and it will be in textured black.
Okay. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Aye. I said aye, right?
Yes, I think you did. Yeah. Okay.
Or I made the motion.
All right. So we're on to fences, walls, gates and berms. Joy Shore, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-156-5-10.2. Is Miss Shore or a representative here?
Yes.
Hi, Board. My name's Harry Fernaris. I'm from Greenberg Chorig LLP at 2317 Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton. And I'm here on behalf of Joy Shore, Robert Shore, and David Shore, the property owners.
Okay. I'm sorry, what is your name again, sir?
On the agenda.
It's Harry Fornaris.
Harry Fornaris. Okay, I'm just trying to see if it's here.
It's here.
Yeah, no,
It's on
I
the
get that. I
application?
get that. Yeah, yes,
No, I
yes. No, I don't know. That's what I'm looking for. I don't see it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Harry Fernandez. All right, great. All right, so this one is mine. So I took many pictures on this site. I'll just start by saying I looked at the property card, and this is an application to legalize a deer fence and a fence around a tennis court. But the property has many, many fences on it, and I couldn't find any approvals for any of the other fences. Not that that is before us at this moment, but I don't feel completely confident that I can recommend to approve the deer fencing because it's the front yard has 8-foot fencing in it, and there's a 10-foot pole. It doesn't fit the criteria for the front yard. So I'd like to do it in two pieces. So you can see on the left there, that pole is 10 feet tall. The fence there is 8 feet. There's also, no, not that one. The one next to it goes out of the picture. It's 10 feet tall. And so we don't permit poles of that height. And generally, we don't permit 8-foot fencing in the front yard. Or 6 even, as Esperanza points out. But I think, if you wanted to make application for a 6-foot fence, we could entertain that, but 8 feet we don't do in the front yard. You can see there's also some 4-foot fencing that's sort of mashed in there a little bit. It's a little sloppy. Well, I don't want to cast aspersions. My house isn't perfect either. So, but it's a little,
Yes.
well, it's disordered. It's disorderly. There's not, and the fact that there are so many different fence types on the property was a little confusing to me. Anyway, so if you could just scroll through the pictures, Will, I can tell you can see okay, that's a piece of fencing that's patched in to part of the deer fencing that's on the what is the side? The east side of the property. And if you just keep scrolling. Now this is the gate. You could leave it there for a minute. This is the gate to get into the tennis court area, which is a chain link fence. And then I think there's some more pictures. This I feel more comfortable with. There's a 4-foot chain link, on the sides along the tennis court, which I understand are typical for this kind of a fence around a tennis court. And then it's sort of in U shapes around the ends are 8-foot lengths, 8-foot pieces. Just keep going. The 8-foot. There we go. See, so it jumps from 4 feet to 8 feet there, which I'm told is typical. I don't have a tennis court. I don't know. It looks a little funny to me, but if that's the way it works, that's fine.
Higher at the back on the ends.
I get why it would be. I am an old gymnastics coach, and I do understand the concept of keeping the ball in the court. But anyway, it just, so then this is another fence, that's on the property, and those have 6-foot 2-inch poles, and the sections are over 5 feet. This may fall in the category of being 50. I think it's actually in the front yard, but it may be 50 feet from the road front. You could just keep scrolling. This is just more of the deer fencing. It's a little hard to see there. And that's it along the back behind that tree. Keep going if you wouldn't mind, Will. Yeah, that's the other side of the driveway, I think. Are we back to the beginning? Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't send it, but each side of the driveway has one of those 10-foot poles, and there's no gate across the driveway, which I commend you for, but it's a little bit of a mishmash. So I would propose to accept the submission for the tennis court and then ask the applicant to come back in with a better plan for the deer fencing, because too much of it is too chaotic.
So that's the tennis court. Thank you. And as far as cleaning up the deer fence, we want to get it down to 8 feet and get rid of the 10-foot poles, or what? I just
Yes.
need a little clarity to advise.
Well, you'll need you can put a 4-foot fence in the front yard as of right. But anything above that, you have to come back to us for approval, and we don't approve 8-foot fences in the front yard. So you would have to,
There, unless it's 50 feet back from, isn't this one that's kind of a flag lot?
it's a flag lot. Oh, I see. So that's not considered the front yard?
Well, if it's more than 50 feet back from the road, right, they would be able to have 6 feet
Which
as of
road?
right.
From the access road or from?
Yeah.
Or from the main public road.
Yeah.
688 away from a 14.
Well, I'm sorry, David, I'm not following you.
So after 50 feet from the edge of the pavement, that becomes the
Edge of
side yard
pavement.
for the height limitation.
Edge of pavement is on this access road or off 114? Oh, well, then none of it falls under our jurisdiction, it would seem.
Have 6 feet as of right.
They would have everything as of right,
Not
because it's.
eight.
No, not the 8 feet.
Well, it's 50, it's way off the
Yeah,
road.
they still, they would get 6 feet, but not 8 feet. So
Okay, all right. So you can have 6 feet, not 8 feet in the front yard.
what I would suggest is that you go to the building department and with the survey, and they can mark up where you can have fencing at what height for the deer fencing on the survey. And that is probably more instructive to you than listening to this verbally, is to just see it marked up on the survey.
Yeah, no, they just want to, I mean, they want to comply with the requirement.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, so I don't, I think that the tennis court is fine, but I think you've got to make some changes with the deer fence. And it seems like it's even down in some areas, you know, like it's.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
been an
plastic
existing.
mesh?
It's that,
fence for a
yeah.
while.
If it's plastic mesh, that's not code either.
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It is, I don't think it's plastic mesh. It's that
Oh.
wiry stuff.
It's wire,
Yeah,
but it's
I think it's
wire
wire.
wire.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's wire, just from the photos.
All right,
I
well,
haven't
just to be
physically
clear.
touched it.
Yeah, no, it's the 4-foot stuff I think is the plastic mesh, but the 8-foot is that, green wire with the little 2 or 4-inch windows in it. So I think, I don't know, can we break this into 2 pieces? Can we approve the fencing for the tennis court and then ask them to come back, or should you just come back with the whole kit and caboodle?
I think it's cleaner to make them come back. Is
Okay.
one thing, right?
All right.
All right,
So
so I'll
let's
get
do that.
clarity on just what the building department views as the front on this, because it's a little
Yes.
funky the way the
Yeah,
the way the
that's
property's
different.
oriented.
Yeah, I had the same
And I
problem.
will try to get back to the next meeting and get that approved. They have somebody who's able to alter that. I don't want to say relatively quickly, but it should be able to be done relatively quickly. And then we will get updated photos, and I will try to get the survey to update the survey, but I'll get the photos and I'll give you the board an update and David an update just to inspect it, at least to confirm the
Okay.
changes. So,
All right.
but I'll
That's-
follow up though, just to make sure we're on the same page of the front
Yes.
yard, because again, it's a funky lot. So.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so then I'm just going to clean up the front yard, whatever it's determined on this survey with the building department. We're going to clean it up to get it down to 6 feet where it has to be.
Right.
And then the rest of the 8 feet.
And even the fencing as it is, I'm sure you know, it kind of fans out from the driveway.
Yeah.
It's not a,
Yeah, no,
straight-
there was
it's
a
not
gate there at some point.
rectilinear. Yeah.
Yep. So
Okay.
that makes sense. Okay. Well,
All right.
I'll confirm the. front
And we'll
yard.
send you a follow-up letter
Yeah.
that'll, give you some
I'll clarify
more
it and
of a
we'll try to get
checklist.
it.
But I think David's suggestion of going to the building department with your survey is
Yeah,
is
no,
your
that
best
makes
bet.
sense. Yeah, we'll just clarify that whatever their interpretation is, we'll just make sure it makes sense, and then
Great.
we'll get it legalized. So
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good
Have a
weekend,
good evening. All right. Next is Corey Rose Manson, Suffolk County Tax Act number 300-78-2-4.1. Application has been postponed. The next is Bistrian Farmland Deer Fence, Suffolk County Tax Map numbers. Oh my goodness, I have to read all this in. 300-171-2-1.2. Excuse me, 300-171-2-11.2, 300-172-1-1, 300-172-1-2.1, 300-172-1-4, 300-171-1-23.1, 300-171-1-24, 300-171-1-19, 300-171-1-1, and 300-171-1-22. And that is, thank you, postponed by the applicant. So,
After all that.
after all that, but I had to read it in. Okay, so now we're up to agricultural overlay. Number 8 on our agenda, Joe Carroll Lauder, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-200-2-28.7. Is the applicant or representative present?
I think the architect.
The architect is here.
Oh, and Beth Baldwin.
Oh, Beth Baldwin. Beth, hi, Beth. How are you? Beth is representing this applicant, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And for the record, I'm recusing myself.
Oh, okay, Frank, thanks. And he even grayed out his screen.
Disappeared.
So he's disappeared. Good evening, sir. If you just state your name for the record.
Alexander Greenwood.
Thank you, Mr. Greenwood, and welcome. You know the drill here, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. So Esperanza, our vice chair, this is her application, so she'll give us her take on this, and then we'll turn it over to you.
Yes. So, Mr. Greenwood, you were last before us in July at our meeting of July 14th. And following that meeting, we provided an incomplete letter to you. And the comments were the following from this board: to reduce the mass and scale of the residence. Reducing the mass and scale of residents will better integrate it with the agricultural character of the area and relate more harmoniously with the neighborhood. Color renderings as it relates to the property and the neighborhood will help the board to better visualize the proposal. So those were two main requests. And so in response, Britton Bistrian replied with a new submission, and she explained in her letter that there are two significant changes to the project scope. One, we have relocated the proposed residence 30 feet deeper into the parcel and further from Beach Lane. And number two, we have reduced the proposed gross floor area by 882 square feet. I just want to go back to the original application, which is for, I probably should have started with that. It is for a single family residence at 10,249 square feet. And that was what was proposed, and you had submitted materials and a rendering and floor plans and so forth. So my appreciation of what has been resubmitted in general, I don't think that the incomplete letter requests were fully addressed. So I want to know from you what.
Well, the rendering was redone, showing the changes to the building. Now, when I was here in July, I felt like the response I got from the board was fairly positive on the form and the style and the materials and the color. And the fact that it looked like an agricultural building. What we've done to reduce the size is we've maintained the north and south elevations, which are the two gables, and we've reduced the length of the building by about 10 feet. And then we had to make a few other little changes with the fenestration to work with that. But the rendering was changed. It looks a lot the same, but I didn't get the sense that the look of the building was the problem here. It was the size. So what is being presented tonight is, as you say, 882 feet smaller, taken out of the middle. And the building has been moved back from the road. We thought that would sort of help reduce the perspective of it, and it would be not looming over the road as much as it would have been before.
Mm-hmm. What is the purpose of the survey that's all colored in that you submitted? Are you aware of that?
I have a black and white version of that.
This one?
Yeah.
Give that one, info. Should be in the packet where the colored rendering was. There are
I
also
just
some,
am trying to make a
Sure.
sense of what was submitted, in addition to several photographs of neighboring properties and then aerials of other properties, not
Well,
this
we
one.
were asked to provide some information on the vicinity and the adjacent buildings. Now, we are familiar with some of the adjacent buildings because we've been involved in building and designing them. The neighboring properties, without going up the driveway and taking a photograph, it's kind of difficult to tell you too much about them. But I did want to suggest that, from what I can tell, the houses on Beach Lane 100 years ago were all pretty small, modest houses, and they were probably seasonal, most of them. And over the years, one by one, they've been destroyed and replaced by houses that are 3, 4, 5, 6 times as large as what was there originally. So I think that the size of what we're proposing is probably not that different from most of the houses on Beach Lane today, and probably at some point in the future, there are only a few that remain that from the original builds. So a lot of that stuff is eventually going to get wiped away, and bigger houses are going to take their place.
Well, we certainly hope not.
Well, that's not my hope.
As I would say just about this property that you submitted in your aerial, this aerial, that doesn't exist anymore, and a much larger, but not as large as it could have been, house is being built there, as you probably are aware.
I included that photograph to try to help show you what's in that neighborhood and what's in that vicinity. And I must say that I served 10 years on the planning board down in New Jersey in a rural township. And I was doing exactly what you're trying to do, is try to maintain the character of my community. So I applaud you all for that. But and we have looked into trying to reduce this thing so it's appropriate and in scale. But I will say it is a simple sort of vernacular agricultural building, and I think that in its way it respects what I think what you'd like to see in Wainscott.
well, architecturally, I think that it does satisfy. I think your takeaway from the July meeting was correct. I think it was the mass and scale of it that we were hoping to see reduced more significantly. And I understand that you've moved it back 30 feet and that you've shrunk it by 890 some odd feet, so that's slightly, it was a 10,000 square foot building, as I recall. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So that was, so which, is, I understand that it's something, but we were hoping perhaps for a little more. So I think that every other aspect of this, I think you're right. The fenestration is good. The design is good. It looks like a barn. It fits in that way to the agricultural overlay community. But and to the degree that a barn is a familiar vista, a familiar building in the agricultural vista. I mean, one of the challenges we're having here is we see this agricultural land that is an empty field, which has its own value as a vista, and then these buildings are springing up. So we're trying to mitigate the impact of that on the vista. So the mass and scale of it, which is really our purview, is what we were hoping to see a little more reduction on.
Well, it's quite a large farm. There's quite a lot of land that is associated with that family.
Right.
And they would need a somewhat substantial agricultural building to service that, I would think.
So this is this colored survey. Is the yellow the water land? All the yellow?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, so this is enormous.
I mean, this is the whole Lauder land.
Right.
We're talking about this
That's
little.
not.
Well,
That's why I asked what the color coded
He just said it was.
Map was.
He just said all of this belongs to the Lauders.
Well, there's the new house we worked on before. This, I didn't realize this was Lauder, but
All of this.
All the yellow.
these are not built on. These are empty lots, but this is that open vista towards the pond. Is that?
Right. I think that,
I think this could be right.
which is fine, but it's not, we're looking at the land that we're looking at is 2+ acres. It's a little over 2 acres.
Is this a barn?
The 2+ acre property is adjacent to and connected to
Right.
their other holdings. And there's a certain amount of equipment and trucks and whatever that
Right.
would be required. And
No, I understand the bind you're in, but, and as a person who have served your community in our position, you'll understand the bind we're in, which is reducing it by 800 some odd square feet, which is a reduction, is not a significant reduction. And that was really what we were hoping for. Because it's still basically a 3-story building, even though the design and the materials and all the other aspects of that, oh, there it
A
is.
3-story building?
It looks like,
Well, this is an open
because it's
lot.
up on
It's a
because of the
2-story.
FEMA requirements, it goes up on the ramp.
It's a hayloft, yeah.
Right, but it's high. I mean, see, this has got to go up.
Well, this is very typical of old barns. This is
I
so typical.
understand, but I'm assuming that they're going to have to meet similar FEMA requirements, to elevate it because it's in a flood zone.
I think that's
that
what
right?
that's what.
Have you designed this to FEMA requirements for floods? Have you designed this for FEMA requirements for floods?
Yeah.
So that's why it's
So-
got the ramp up to the double.
And so so the whole thing
Okay.
emerges out of the ground at a little higher level than it would have in the old style, if people just put it built right on the, say again?
It is in a flood zone and it needed
Right.
to be 4 feet out of the
Right.
ground.
No, I understand, which adds to the massing, which is why, maybe take it down from the roof a little bit. I don't know.
Well, my question is, would you rather have them plunk it down in any of these other locations? I mean, this is sort of fits into the context of Beach Lane. They could put it here, they could put it here, they could put it here.
Well,
I mean, this is contextual. These are buildings along this street.
Well, I don't think it's one thing or the other.
No, but I
we
think
can
they're
still-
trying to position this in a way that doesn't impact these open vistas that we all see as we drive down Main Street, Waynescott.
Well, I thought that it was going to, it is, it's going to be on,
This is
Yeah, we're way over here.
it's way back
it's
here.
there?
Yeah,
Okay,
This
so I
is
don't
104
understand.
Main
So
Street.
why is that?
that's what I asked.
Oh,
It's an old picture, I think.
It is an old
so
picture.
what, so
It
this
has
is
to
going
exist.
to, this isn't relevant either?
This is what they
Where is the building going to go?
Right here.
or
down here,
here,
down
down
here.
Okay.
This is that house that we spent so
Yeah.
much time on.
Yeah.
This is now, yeah, okay.
The Great Vista is from Main Street.
Yes,
in
that's what I was trying to say.
And we've had discussions about working out a way that can be maintained and that
So you would
it
see it
doesn't
from
become
here.
hedges.
You wouldn't see it 'cause they're
and-
standing in the
and
middle of the
people can
field.
drive on Main Street
But
and
it's this
walk
way
on
more.
Main Street and look across the pond to the sand dunes. So that is a vista.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Well, what was the size of the house we recently approved across the street that I think was Frank's, that modern farmhouse that's right across the street and up a little bit? The one that we had spent so much time on.
We haven't approved anything.
But what is the square footage of that house that we're talking?
It's a much smaller lot. It's just not, and we have been talking about the mass and scale of that as well. So that's
Yeah,
it's not- I'm not
I'm
gonna
not,
compare.
I just think what is the actual square footage of this proposal? I've
well
lost
with
that.
the reduction.
Yes,
I can tell you it's 9,000. There's some
458.
information here that is incorrect on
Say again?
this evaluation.
I'm sorry, could
Because the
you,
old square footage, the present plan shows 9,367 and a half feet.
okay. And that's down from 10,000?
Well, I think what is allowed there but the zoning would allow 10,000 and close to 11,000 square feet.
No, I understand, but I'm trying to compare this proposal to your original submission.
The original
Which
one, I
was-
believe, was 10,249 square feet.
Okay, that's what I'm,
And
that's,
there should
yep.
be a difference of
Okay. Yeah.
882 between those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
We didn't want to get into redesigning the whole thing. We're looking for a way to take the space out of the middle and keep a lot of it intact.
Yeah.
There's a residence at one end, and then there would be a security office at the other ends.
Of this building?
Excuse me?
A residence and a security office in this
Security
barn?
office at the two ends of the building.
In this barn?
Yeah.
yeah, do we have that? I mean, because I remember looking at that.
The floor plans?
Yeah, the floor
interior
plans
program.
and
Yeah, they're in there.
on the, do you have them? Can you show them to us, Will?
Oh, that's the lot right there, in case we were
Yeah.
wondering.
You don't have the floor plans?
So the floor plans are.
There we go. As Chip was asking about the
Use.
The program.
program, exactly. So did you took it out of the middle, did you say? So the residence and the office stayed the same size, but the storage space for the machinery is smaller.
Right.
So what is the amount of residents then? If that has stayed the same, how much is residential then use, like living space?
How much is residential? There's an apartment to the right there, with a bedroom and a bathroom and a kitchen. And square footage, I'm gonna guess it's about 80 by 60. And then there's a room below that would be part of that apartment.
And then and then on the other side where it says bedroom and study, that's the security office?
Are there two residences?
Or little apartments or whatever?
Kitchenette.
Yeah, this side.
So there are two.
Bedroom, study,
two-
kitchenette.
There are two dwelling units. Right? I mean, that's what the plans indicate. You wouldn't need to have two kitchens.
There are 3 generations there, and there are a number of houses, and they're going to try to have the security using one end of this building upstairs.
So they're housing the security and they're housing someone else. They're housing two different entities. They're housing two different families.
Well,
I didn't realize,
security office is not for someone living there. It's for someone to have
It says bedroom,
A
says bedroom.
caretaker, I mean,
yeah, caretaker or security people.
well, there's a bedroom and a kitchenette and a bathroom. Bathroom I get. But, I mean, I would consider that a dwelling space. I mean, they seem to be two distinct
It's two facilities in one building.
dwelling units. Yes. I mean, not to say that I don't know if it's legal or not. It may be. I didn't notice that until now. I thought there was only the one apartment. Maybe I just don't remember looking at these the last time, but I didn't remember thinking I thought there was one apartment and that there was like a bathroom downstairs for the, landscaping crew to
Staff
use.
and-
Yeah,
yeah.
like to change or whatever else. But this has a bedroom and a kitchenette and so forth. So that
let's
seems
ask
different
Eric.
to me.
Eric, I mean, within a one structure, can you have two separate living units separated by a storage space?
Yeah, it's so mystifying, this whole thing.
Again, I'm sorry.
Within this barn, on the left-hand side, on the east side, there is an apartment, and then the middle is for storage, and then on the other opposite end,
There are
there is
two
an apartment.
apartments. Yeah, there are two
So
apartments.
there's two separate living facilities within one building that are not joined together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with anything that says that you can't do that.
Okay, okay.
Just the intention, what we were asked to provide is a caretaker's apartment.
Yeah, but sometimes you can't have,
There's a bathroom and then maybe it's not a full kitchen. There's no stove. It's just a place where they could have coffee maker and soft drinks or whatever.
Right. I understand that. I think what's throwing me is the bedroom. You have a bedroom, you have a bedroom on either side.
two separate facilities.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly two different dwelling units, which is fine, but I just don't know if then we have a different set of governing principles if it's like an apartment building,
What happens with the security office is the idea is it's 24-hour security, and it's not someone is living there so much as it's a
someone
place
could live
where,
there.
and they'll probably have cameras and
No, I understand. They'll have equipment. Yeah, I understand. I'm not opposed to this specifically. It's just like a new it's a new facet of this project now that I'm just coming to understand.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to say, how dare you? I just am trying to understand what you're doing. And I want to know if we have a different obligation to review this, if it's dwelling spaces. It's the first time I've encountered this. So that's why I'm
primarily storage space.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. I just want to have a sense of what we're supposed to be looking at here.
We've been involved in projects where if there's not a kitchen, it's not considered a living space. And this is in different township and different situation, but that's what we've been.
Well, yeah, but in East Hampton, if you have a sink, it's considered a living space. You don't even have to have a refrigerator. You just have to have a sink, and it's considered a living space. You don't have to have a stove. Take it from me. I had it in my own house. So it's a thing. So you have two distinct living spaces here as we define them. And which is fine. I just don't know, does that mean there's going to be different? I mean, I guess one of the things that I was wondering about is the driveway space. And if there are going to be people living there as well as equipment coming in and out, that's part of the reason. Will, can you just go to the site plan again, I guess, so we can see the driveway? Because the driveway is fairly substantial and the parking area.
Bringing that up.
Yeah. But if there's going to be at least two on-site, two separate, I'll say families for the purpose of the discussion, living in those apartments, there could be as many as 4 cars because most couples each have their own car. We don't have public transportation here. So there's got to be space for 4 cars to park. I mean, just to my mind, it opens up a whole different discussion. If this is dwelling space, I kind of thought of it as just a storage barn with an accessory apartment, but it seems to be a little more than that. So can you just zoom in on the parking area for me, please?
It'd be helpful if we called that a security office rather than a.
Well, it has a bathroom and a bedroom. Now that we see the bathroom and the bedroom, and the kitchenette, you can call it whatever you want, but
Right.
it could be an apartment.
Yeah.
That's been the same. That didn't change from what we
Well,
figured.
I think the way you initially presented this has misled us. It was supposedly started as a barn. Now it's a barn plus 2 apartments, and I don't think we were fully aware of that at your last presentation.
Well, I think the confusing thing for all of us is that it is a residential structure.
Right.
Posing as a barn, but to be used as a barn.
Yeah.
And a residence.
And a residence.
Which is not those are not competing interests. It's just we're trying to integrate those that understanding into our understanding of this application. I thought you had only one apartment there. I did remember seeing an apartment there, but now as I look at I don't have the original set of floor plans, and I don't remember seeing 2 kitchenettes there, and 2 bedrooms and so on. So,
I believe the plans didn't change except to get smaller.
Okay. so that's on me, but now I get it. And so we just have to, now parking and circulation isn't our issue. I always have to like break that off from my brain because I used to be on the planning board. But and so you've moved it back. So it didn't really change. So you need square footage for your dwellings. And you don't want to take too much more out of the middle, but I think part of the problem I'm having with it is the mass and scale. I don't know if it's possible to bring it down at all. Because you have to elevate it for the FEMA, we're going to be, this is a challenge that we're going to be facing with all those lots over there. And in fact, the next application is your neighbor who's doing the same thing, which is a little bit of the reason I'm trying to anticipate. Yes, I'm trying to anticipate the impact of this building on their view shed.
On my way in today, driving up, I passed a pole barn that has a roof pitch of about 2 and 12 or something. And if the roof had to be dropped down to make it lower, it would look less like a barn, and you'd probably be unhappy with the shape of the building.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I understand that. I just, I'm, and it's not my job. It's not our job to do the design work for you, but I'm not sure we're comfortable with the mass and scale of it at this point. I don't know what to, I'd like to hear from Diane and Chip and Esperanza again. We don't have Frank on this.
We're all a little thrown. I mean, a reduction of less than 10% is not much in the when you're talking about mass and scale. I mean, it's not very much. And I think that we were a little bit misled about the use. I remember it being a storage facility primarily, but it seems, so I think that's thrown us a bit. But I think it's actually the size, especially compared to the neighbor, that's the real issue.
Okay.
Sure.
Did you have one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I would like to hear from Chip. Can you just hold for a minute, Beth? Thanks. You stay there. You don't have to sit down, but I just wanted to hear what you have to say.
Well, I mean, you have to remember who the applicant is because they have done more for Wayne Scott than any other family in the history of Wayne Scott and preserving land. And if we look at the pictures and these accompanying buildings, the church,
Chip, can I just stop you? We have to treat this objectively and consider the application on its merits
but
without regard to who the applicant is or
I'm talking
what
about
they've done
context
for the
and
community. I understand that, but we can't really consider that as.
Okay, so
that would be a favor. Yeah, we can't do that. So did you want to revise your want to think about that another
Well,
minute?
I think it's a little big. I think you could make it a little smaller. I mean, carriage houses in old days stored equipment, and there was usually an apartment for a chauffeur or a coachman or something, and there might have been an apartment for household staff or something like that. So I don't really have a problem that you've surprised us with this extra apartment. But if the others think it needs to be smaller, then it needs to be smaller. But I think contextually, it fits into the neighborhood of this estate very nicely.
Okay. Did you want to say something further, Winnie?
I'll make, I have a question, but after
we'll hear from Beth.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Oh, I guess it's evening now, right?
Yeah.
My name is Beth Baldwin. I'm from Essex, Hefner and Angel, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant.
Welcome.
So you're a lawyer?
I am an attorney.
Okay,
yes,
good.
Essex, Hefner and Angel.
Work for us.
I would like to begin by pointing out a provision of the code that I'm sure this board is especially familiar with. That provision is section 255-3-31 of the town code. This section sets forth the purpose of the agricultural overlay district within the town of East Hampton. The code states, the purpose of the agricultural overlay district is to reasonably control and to the extent possible prevent the unnecessary loss of those currently open lands within the town containing large and contiguous areas of prime agricultural soils. This is the only purpose listed in the town code. The only reason we are before you today is because of the proposed residences within agricultural overlay district, and your review should be guided by that purpose. This project clearly supports the purpose set forth in the town code, as approving this project will not cause an unnecessary loss of the current open land within the town containing large and contiguous areas of prime agricultural soils. Beach Lane is developed with large estate-sized residences abutting agricultural land owned by my client. In terms of size of the proposed structure, it will be similar in size to the surrounding properties as depicted on the aerials provided by Alex. Moreover, this recent submission by the board proposes the residence be not only 880 square feet smaller than the originally proposed, but also set back 135 feet from Beach Lane, which I believe was the board's concern at the last meeting, which we discussed earlier. Now, the residence will be in line with the other residences on the western side of the road, or even farther back than some of them as well. Please keep in mind that the applicant is proposing a residence that conforms to zoning, but also a design that will enhance the continued agricultural use of his surrounding agricultural properties, which is approximately 30 acres. This is because the proposed residence will also serve as storage for the farm equipment used by the applicant in conjunction with his adjacent farmland. As depicted in the rendering we submitted, the exterior of this residence looks like a barn and therefore is not only consistent with the character of the surrounding agricultural property, but also the surrounding estate properties established in this area of Wainscott. As far as the scale, the size and height of the residence is appropriate for a barn. A smaller or lower building doesn't help with the functioning of the storing of the farm equipment for this size of an agricultural property surrounding. The proposed structure is well under GFA, and we are only requesting the GFA as proposed because of the double height requirement set forth in the code. But again, the height is required for the to store the agricultural equipment. I should also point out that you had mentioned before, Chairperson, about the it looks 3 stories. The house to the, I guess, north, be 84, that is actually a 3-story residence. Their CO says for a 3-story residence. So the neighboring house is a large house that is a 3-story residence. We are not a 3-story residence, and we are within the height requirements of the code. And then I just wanted to say it's my understanding that the board is comfortable with the finishes and colors of the building, and so I don't feel I need to comment. But that was all the comments I just wanted.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Baldwin?
I just have
if you wanted to ask Beth a question.
So
Go ahead.
I have something to say. I think that, you read the partial definition of ag overlay district. The full definition says the purpose of the ag overlay district is to reasonably control and to the extent possible, prevent the unnecessary loss of those currently open lands within the town containing large and contiguous areas of prime agricultural soils. The economic, social, and aesthetic benefits which can be obtained for all citizens by limiting loss of such areas are well documented and have inspired a host of governmental programs designed with varying degrees of success to achieve this result. For its part, the town is expending large sums of money to protect the existing farm acreage. At the same time, the town has an obligation to exercise its authority to reasonably regulate the subdivision and development of this land for the same purposes, while honoring the legitimate interests of farmers and other farmland owners. The Town of East Hampton Agricultural Land Study, prepared by the Office of the Town Planner in 1981, provides important criteria for the boundaries of the Ag Overlay District and the regulations applied by the town board therein. And then, in addition to that, there's assurance of harmony, which the board is charged with review of all properties. So it's Ag Overlay, but it's not just, the sole purpose isn't just to.
Well, the definition that I
know, I'm not done, thank you.
Is what the purpose is, and that just supports.
I know, but then you went on to say that the only purpose was to prevent the loss of prime agricultural soils, but we're also charged with assurance of harmony, which includes exercising sound judgment and rejection of plans, which in its opinion, based on study and advice, are not of harmonious character because of proposed style, scale, materials, mass, line, color, detail, or placement upon the property of proposed buildings or structures, or in relation to the spaces between buildings, or the natural character of the landscape, or because of the lack of provision for balance between the proposed location and design of structures and adjacent open areas or adjacent existing structures, whether on or off the lot or site in question. And as you know, the board can consider scale and size, and that's the matter of Lynn S. Manger versus the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation of the Village of Southampton. So
Thank you, council.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing that that's what the code says. I'm just saying that this is we're proposing a barn to be used for an agricultural purpose.
I understand that,
Consider
but it's,
mass and scale, it's not
Right.
considered mass and scale, it's just a normal situation where you have just a small or a normal single-family residence. This is a single-family residence with a storage use for a working farm. That
I just disagreed with the characterization of the board's
that was
Okay. Okay.
review in this. I think that the board has a legitimate interest in reviewing the size and the scale and the assurance of harmony.
I absolutely agree.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you guys are in agreement now. That's excellent. We've made some progress. Thank you to both of you. I understand your position. I understand your client's position, but one of our charges, and I read it at the beginning of the meeting, is for the that the vistas are part of what we're trying to preserve also. So when we talk about mass and scale and its impact on the vista in an agricultural land, especially on a piece of land that is empty right now, there's nothing on it, so I think it's not like you're replacing a building that's there. And yes, there are many large buildings in that area.
There are also small ones.
There are also small ones. So I think at this point, we understand your position, but I think that my read of the board is that we would like to see it reduced in scale a little more.
The reduction in mass.
You look at an overview of other working barns in the area that are agricultural buildings.
Yes.
And those sizes, I don't recall what those were.
I think Eric can further clarify, but if I recall, just right across the street, the Babinskis have a couple of barns, and neither of them are more than 2,000 or 3,000 square feet. So for us to consider this as a storage space for a working farm, I mean, I would question the need for that much space.
I'm a little unclear. I live down on Beach Lane. What's the working farm? I mean, they have lawns and they have gardens, but what crops are they raising? What animals are they raising?
I believe it's being the land that the 30 acres itself is being farmed. It's from what I understood.
Well, what's the crop that they're growing? I think it's mostly grass and lawn and fields. So, I mean, I'm not sure this would be a working farm.
Is
It's really
it a true agricultural?
it's a gentleman's country estate, but it's not a working farm. I mean,
Right. So do we need to determine that?
no, but I just wanted to raise
don't?
that.
Being proposed as a single family residence.
Well, I'm asking our.
No, I
counselor.
don't think that I take Chip's point, but I don't know that that's the salient point.
Okay.
Well, I think it is partly a point, given that that's the need for so much space for farm
I
equipment.
suspect it's lawnmowers. I mean, it really
Yeah,
do.
it probably is. It probably is.
Well, so what should we do here?
Well,
I think farm equipment, the tractors and
yeah,
things like that.
farm
would be
equipment is,
utilized.
I don't think we need to get into an intensified discussion about the kinds of equipment that are going to be stored there.
If
It's a
the applicant
barn.
is willing to take the board's comments about the mass and scale and come back again, I think that's
I think
probably
that's
the
the
best course of
direction
action,
we're
or-
going at this point. So, does anybody else, is that, okay. So do you think you could come
And I
back?
also think you could have done a better job explaining this building to us the first time, because I think this second apartment, even though it's a security
It's a
office,
single family residence. It's
Yeah.
not two
But-
dwelling
but-
units.
this is also the first time the council has appeared, so it's not.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
okay.
It's okay. I think we're all on the same page now. We understand if it was part of the first submission and we just overlooked that or it didn't stick or whatever, I take Chip's point, but because I too felt a little surprised by that, and it does change a little the nature of the building. But if you would come back to us with something that's a little smaller, the scale and
Discuss.
mass and scale is reduced a little bit. If you could ask your client to.
Would it be helpful beyond having the survey with the proposed residence? Would it be helpful to have something like this where the proposed is,
An aerial view?
yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
depicted somehow, that
Okay.
we could get a better sense of the scale?
Yeah.
Would that be helpful?
I think it'd be helpful. I mean, I think
Oh,
that's
like
what we
having
were
like
asking
that
for to begin with. Yeah, I mean, these,
outline of the building put on
yeah,
material.
in scale,
Right.
and that would give us an
I
actual,
understand what
you
you
know,
mean.
apples to apples kind of ability to evaluate how it looks on the land in relation to the things around it.
Right.
Yes.
I understand what you're
Okay.
looking for.
All right.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. I'm sorry, you know, this is disappointing, but I think this is our best.
We will discuss your comments with our client.
Perfect.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay. Next up is number 9, Pamela Mahoney, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-200-02-21. Frank, are you back? Up there he is. He popped in. Hi,
Just in
Frank.
time. Hi there.
He's back.
He's like a superhero.
He does look like a superhero. You wearing a cape? It's,
Maybe I'll feel like that tomorrow. We'll see.
oh, poor baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, so this is Pamela Mahoney and Mr. Savarese is here. Good evening. Frank, did you want to begin your evaluation for us?
Yeah, sure. So this application has come before us
did already.
previously. This application is for the renovation of an existing house at 98 Beach Lane in Wainscott, which includes raising the house to meet FEMA guidelines and alterations which increase the building mass upstairs by changing the roof line. The board has already reviewed the changes to the proposed house and raising grade. The board signaled its receptiveness to the proposed changes. What remains from our last meeting is how the new retaining wall at the driveway shall be treated. At our last meeting, we requested the applicant come back with documentation on how this new retaining wall be clad. The applicant has submitted a revised survey and 2 photographs showing the retaining wall to be clad in field stone. The survey states that the field stone size would be 8 to 12 inches in size. The retaining wall runs with the slope of the grade facing the street. The survey says the maximum building height of this wall is approximately 2 feet above grade. The proposed cladding of the retaining wall seems appropriate given the architecture and context. Does Mr. Savarese have anything he wishes to add?
No, that after the last hearing, excuse me, I mentioned to the owners who happen to be here, if you need any more information, and we talked about stucco and the colors and a fieldstone or a slate cap, and they wanted to stay away from that. They want this to stay as close to original, and they want it to be that farmhouse fieldstone look.
I think
And
it's a
that's
great
what
choice.
they would like the
I think it's a
wall
great
to look at.
choice. I think it's a great choice. Do you have these pictures on the screen, Will, that you can give people so the public can see and the board if they haven't had a chance to look at these?
That is the style.
Yeah. I think that's
Stacked stone wall.
it'll be a stacked stone wall, right? Okay. Well, does anybody have any other questions?
Nope.
For the applicant? Frank, are you satisfied with this?
I am satisfied with this. So I believe that this would wrap up the entire application for this house.
I think so too.
I was trying to review it and see, do we have everything we need for the application? I've gone back through and I don't recall or haven't found anything about exterior lighting, but it seems to me that, and Mr. Savarese might be able to help us here, but my understanding is the exterior lighting, like for the front entry and the back, would be with a recessed fixture in the soffit above both entry doors. Is that correct, Mr. Savarese?
I think the intention is to keep the lighting that they have, which is a very simple side light by the back door.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go back through the photos of that, Will. If you could pull up the site photos that I took.
I don't see any. Lighting.
It should be in there. Maybe it's from, I don't know if it's in the
I'll find the last time.
current.
Are these
file.
photographs that you submitted, Frank,
These
that
are
show the
yes.
existing lighting? Because we do
Yeah,
need
it
to
should-
like reference the lighting when we make the
Yeah,
resolution, because
that's
that's
right.
part of our evaluation. And we don't have any
Um,
documentation.
One simple light by the front door and the back door. I have pictures if you want.
And it's
Right.
staying, so
hang
it's
on.
irrelevant.
Let me see what date, if Will could pull it up. what
Okay, if
date-
it's existing and it's not changing, then perhaps we don't have to, I mean, it's good to know that, but if
Yeah, I
no
mean, their
changes
intention
is,
all along is to keep this,
yeah, as simple as
close
possible.
to
And we're grateful to you
original.
for that. You've done a fine job with this.
Yeah.
We're great. Well, it's important to us too. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, it would be June 23rd. There should be photos in that folder if you can pull that up.
Okay. But as a practical matter, in terms of us reviewing the application, I don't know that we need, because then there's no lighting change proposed, so we don't have to review the lighting, do we?
David?
David? There's no lighting change proposed, so we don't really have to review the lighting.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's useful to know what's there, but it's, as a practical matter, we don't have to.
That's correct, Chair.
Okay. Okay,
Right,
there's the
so-
house. So it's so charming. Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Okay. So in the resolution, we'll just say existing lighting to remain, right? That's simple enough. Okay. All right. So, well, we thank you and we're grateful
Thank-
you're part of our community and I wish you luck with this. It's not an easy thing. Our new climate change, sea level rise conditions are challenging. So I hope it all goes as you have, hope it will. Would you like to make a motion,
Frank?
Frank, wherever you are? I'm
I
looking
make a
around.
motion to approve the application as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay. Hooray, yes, that's good. It's nice when one works out and that was a great job. Really nice job on that. Okay, so we're on to issuance of certificates of occupancy. The first one is Montauk Beach House, which I don't seem to have.
Here.
Thank you. Suffolk County Tax Lot number 300-49-4-52.7. Stuck here. Okay, Chip, this is yours.
So this is the awning that I'm going to talk about in the check-in area. So this is an application seeking a C of O for work done on a motel restaurant complex just off the Montauk traffic circle. We have visited this property twice and the applicant has completed all work per our resolution of April 29th, 2022. Specifically, renovations to an outdoor restaurant area and adding a small awning over the rear entry to the hotel lobby. Rick, do you want to show some restaurant pictures? That's the restaurant. They've done some painting. They've done some, it's really just some painting and a bar service area, and that's the motel itself. I see no reason not to approve this. They've done exactly what we've asked them to do.
Okay. So do you want to make a
I
motion?
make a motion that I make a motion to approve this application for a request for a C of O and to instruct staff to notify the building department of the same.
Okay, may I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so passed and carried. Number 11, Amagansett Square LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-172-12-6. Frank, this is yours.
Okay.
There are two for some reason.
Correct. Hopefully I get the.
Oh, yes,
so-
yes, okay.
So this is for a C of O for alterations to the exterior for one of the buildings at Amagansett Square for what is now a restaurant called Doubles. The application came before us for new windows and doors, and the board approved the following: 6 new doors and 3 windows on all four existing elevations. On the south elevation, the new sliding windows were to be at least 8-inch from the swing door. That's the back side. On the west elevation, which is the main entry, the fixture type, the sconce is to be the gaslight type fixture. While not stated explicitly in approval, the approved building elevations call out glare buster fixture on the south elevation flanking the doors and windows. What is installed are a set of flood lamps, and maybe I should toggle back to, yeah, can you, to the right, no, go back. To the right of the awning there.
Mm-hmm.
What is installed are a set of flood lamps to the right of the south door, which does not conform to the proposed lighting.
Mm-hmm.
This fixture, as well as one on the north, is not approved. For the south fixture, it appears that a glare-reducing fixture was replaced with floodlights, or at least it was the new fixture is floodlights.
Britain, right? For the Mahi
Yeah.
Mahi or whatever
The
it was.
north fixture above the sign was always there, but we never discussed it, nor is it called out on the application.
Mm.
So I'm not sure if that fixture is used. It wasn't on the, was not called out in the elevations to be removed. It's just something that I picked up on the CO inspection. So I'm not even sure if they use it. But the one on the south elevation, all else looks fine. It's just I noted the one on the south elevation. Yeah, it doesn't conform.
So, but this was for the windows and doors, right? And was the lighting
Right.
included?
Well, it was, my
awning to
understanding,
right
it was
and fixed
included. The
awning.
next one, so this is an application essentially to modify the architecture of the building. The other
Right.
one has to do with signage.
Okay. So I may have them backwards then.
So I'm not sure where that leaves us. Everything else
lighting
seems fine to
isn't
me.
6 new doors, 3 windows, Anderson windows, per drawing says we have 2 sliding windows.
So
But I
Frank,
remember talking, okay, so the two proposed exterior wall-mounted light fixtures. The fixture for these 2 locations would be the fixture type currently installed in this elevation referred to as gas light. So you're saying that has not been
No.
installed. Okay, then it can't, then it's not ready. Okay.
It's
So-
not something I realized until I went through the
Yeah,
photos
that's
again.
okay. So then
and the
we should write to them and explain that they have to
appropriate, or is there next?
install light fixtures. Sorry?
Chair, Eric has a comment about the light fixtures.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, as Member Guittard pointed out, they're non-compliant under the town code right now, regardless of whether or not they have an ARB application or any other application, they're required to be replaced with
Right.
conforming fixtures.
Right.
So, there's a question as to whether or not there's a nexus between, the application that was in front of you, that was approved. But I guess you could handle it in various ways. You could require them to remedy the situation before you sign off on a CO. You could note it in your findings for the building department. Ideally, the building department would not be issuing the final CO until, all the lighting is compliant on site. So I guess you have some avenues to remedy it if you want to at this time. Or you could.
I don't
leave it to the building
understand what
department.
you're proposing as remedy. To my mind, if the resolution approved a certain type of lighting fixture and that fixture is not
It was in the
here.
resolution because I'm not.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, the resolution said a gas light. lighting.
Now, that one was, that's if you go to the main elevation,
Right.
the long elevation, the big fixture,
Referred to in the meeting as
That
gas
one-
light type fixture.
that was correctly installed. It's not in the resolution, I guess,
There are
about.
2 locations. The resolution says there are 2 locations where the gas light fixture will be installed. The fixture type for these 2 locations shall be the fixture type currently installed on this elevation referred to in the meeting as gas light type fixture. Because that was meant to match the whole of Amagansett Square because they all had the
Yeah.
same kind of lighting, right? The
Which it
exterior
does.
lighting was uniform. But so, and you're saying, I thought you said that one was correct and one was not.
Well, the gas light fixture is the correct spec.
Right. But
So
there's
that
only one
conforms.
gaslight fixture and this resolution says there are 2 locations.
Right.
2 proposed exterior wall mounted light fixtures referred to in this drawing. So if there's only one, I don't see how we can. I
Well,
mean,
can we could approve it with, if they decided to take it off, couldn't we?
I think they need to take it off.
I mean, I think we have no leverage if we approve it and they don't take it off.
Well, sorry, I'm
The
looking,
point
so,
is to have them meet the criteria of the resolution before we send an inspector there, because if it's not compatible with the resolution, the inspector's not going to pass it anyway. So I think we should just have them remedy that. And then, I mean, if there are other lighting fixtures on the site, my inclination would be to send them a letter and say, sorry, but we can't sign off on this because the light fixtures don't comport to the resolution as adopted. And by the way, you have a couple other light fixtures here. They're probably not going to pass, even though it wasn't part of the resolution. So that's.
I recommend tabling it and sending them that letter.
Okay, great.
I was there yesterday, and the back side on the back parking lot is full of garbage that is not contained. It is, these pictures look pretty pristine, but the place is not pristine,
You can
particularly.
refer that to code enforcement.
Yeah.
I'll let them know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we're going to table that, Frank, okay?
mhm.
Okay, and then we'll go to the next one, which is number 12, Amagansett Square, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-172-12-6, which was for another, it had to do with awnings and signage rather than changes to the building. So did you,
Correct.
That also be tabled
So-
as well, or?
it
No,
would be tabled
no,
also?
no, because I think it's a separate resolution.
And
It's a separate application.
It's a completely separate
Is it related to
resolution.
it, or?
No,
No,
No, if
it's
it's
not.
completely
signage
separate.
and awnings.
Okay.
This says removal of approved north awning and sign, proposed window sign of 3 peppers, whatever, proposed gable sign, proposed facade sign, total signage. It's all about signs. So it
It's
should be
a
okay.
CO for signage?
It's a CO for
Yes.
signage.
yes. So everything that's listed on the resolution, the fixed blue awning above the main entry door, the fixed blue awning above the south entry door with to go on it, the Mahi Mahi sign, the 3 peppers graphic, those were listed on the resolution. They appear to be installed at the scale. Couldn't measure the one above. So the signage appears to confirm what we approved.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion then? This
Yes.
is the CO thing.
Yeah. I make a motion to instruct staff to notify the building department that this applicant has satisfied the conditions, substantially conforms to the ARB approval of the resolution, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the second of those two were, that was approved. So they got 1 CO. All right,
Correct.
now we're on to Mark and Linda Sussman, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-134-3-7. Chip, this is you.
This is an application for a C of O for a 2-acre property on the Sag Harbor end of 2 Holes of Water Road. We visited this property twice, and per our resolution of August 26, the applicant is in compliance. Specifically, we approved an existing 7-foot white vinyl fence with a gate. The fence and the gate are 50 feet long and 7 feet high, and they're to the left of the front facade of the house and 240 feet off the road. We also approved a 584-foot black mesh deer fence, no higher than 7 feet and no higher than 7 feet poles, enclosing just a portion of the backyard. It's totally in compliance with the resolution. I see no reason not to approve this.
The revolution will be televised. May I have
The revolution's coming.
Anybody have any questions?
I make a motion to approve this application for a request for a C of O and to instruct staff to notify the building department of the same.
Okay, may I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're good. We're rocking and rolling here, kids. Okay. Wainscott Pastures LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-200-01-3.3. Esperanza, this is yours.
Yes, this was a renovation or additions to an existing residence with a resolution adopted January 23rd, 2022. The addition number 1 is a 1-story addition of approximately 435 square feet to the north side of the house. And addition number 2 is a 2-story addition of approximately 102 square feet for an elevator on the south side of the house. And everything is to be shingled and all materials to match the residence. So the construction is substantially conforms to what was approved. I did notice from looking at the proposed plans that were approved that on the elevator tower, which you see in this picture, there were to be windows on the south side and on the west side, 2 sets of windows each, and those are not present, which is actually, to me, fine. I don't really see an issue with it. It's just a little variation off of the. So, I mean, I think it's
substantially conforms. Yes,
conforms,
okay.
the less glazing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep.
Fine. So
Anybody
I
else
would say,
concerned about that? Okay.
if you want to look through the rest of the pictures, it's a lovely little.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Esperanza?
Nope.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
So I make a motion to instruct staff to inform the building department that the applicant has satisfied the conditions of the ARB approval, that this, has satisfied
Substantially conforms.
that the, it substantially conforms and a certificate of occupancy can be issued.
Okay, great. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All right. Okay, so we are now going to sign resolutions. But Frank isn't here. How do we do that, David? Does he we can sign for him? These are your vouchers also.
Yes, I signed.
Oh, you signed.
Yes,
Great.
we're
I
signed.
guess Frank could indicate his
Diana
dissent
sign?
and
Oh, yeah,
then come
they
in
were.
and
Excellent.
sign later as
Yeah.
well.
I could, but I mean, do you?
Or you could
technically
authorize
only
Julie
need-
to sign for you, Frank, if that's what you want.
We do the,
Whatever you'll want to do.
I mean, is that what you're more comfortable with because you're ill and unable to come in? You could just give.
That's correct. You're not going to get it until
Okay.
next week.
So
They don't have 3 votes. It wouldn't matter, right?
That's what I was wondering. Do you need
Yeah,
my?
it actually doesn't require all of them, so it's
Okay.
fine.
I know, but it's just, it's the first time we've done this with someone zooming in. So it's just good to know what the
I'd have
protocol
to
should
look
be.
into it to give
Okay.
you a more definitive
All
answer.
right, great. So then we'll figure out whether Frank signs or not. But we have a quorum who have approved this. Ocean Dunes, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-190-0102, excuse me, -16. And Kara Rakowski, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-74-3-3. Okay, that's it.
Say M&T Bank?
Did I not say M&T
I didn't
Bank?
hear you say it.
I
I
may
think it was
not
the
have
first
said,
one.
oh, I thought I did say it. M&T Bank, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-189-1-2. I think I said that, but then we got into the Frank discussion. So I want to thank Frank for joining us while he's under the weather. Not a fun thing to do. I hope you feel better. We miss you. And thank our staff for their usual excellence. And thank you to this board. It's a great board. I'm so proud to be among you. Okay, may I have a motion to close, please?
So motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Second it, but I